All right, guys, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for being here. So it turns out Joe Biden, I did not think this was going to happen, but it turns out Joe Biden does plan to continue to seek extradition of WikiLeaks Assange. Unfortunately, look at this Reuters article here. It says that the Biden administration plans to continue to seek extradition of WikiLeaks Assange. It says President Joe Biden's administration how many times do I have to say this? Plans to extradite WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange from the United Kingdom to the United States to face hacking conspiracy charges, the U.S. Justice Department said. Justice Department spokesman Mark Raimondi on Tuesday said the U.S. government will continue to challenge a British judge's ruling last month that Assange should not be extradited to the United States because of the risk he would commit suicide. In a January 4th ruling, the judge, Vanessa Barrister, said, I found that the mental condition of Mr. Assange is such that it would be oppressive to extradite him to the United States of America. The British judge set Friday as a deadline for the United States to appeal her ruling forbidding Assange's extradition. So they're saying that and by the way, it says right here, Obama's Justice Department decided not to seek Assange's extradition on the grounds that what Assange and WikiLeaks did was too similar to journalistic activities protected by the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Trump administration officials stepped up public criticism of Assange and WikiLeaks only weeks after taking office in January of 2017 and subsequently filed a series of increasingly harsh criminal charges accusing Assange of participating in a hacking conspiracy. Because that's what they're going after him for, is they're saying, well, he hacked and he got the material because he helped hack. He helped Chelsea Manning hack. And that is what's going on here. So, yeah, unfortunately, I really hoped that Joe Biden was not going to be seeking extradition of Assange. I hoped he would be dropping the extradition charge because Obama was unwilling to go after Julian Assange, and it looked like Joe Biden was just going to roll us back into Obama era everything, right? And then after, and that's, so I just thought he was going to, ultimately drop charges against Julian Assange. I thought maybe, or I'm sorry, not drop charges. I didn't think Joe Biden would actually go that far. But I thought he would at least drop the extradition request, meaning Julian Assange would not be facing extradition in the United States. He would be allowed to be let free in London. He could go wherever he wants to go. But if he ever stepped foot in the United States, he would be potentially convicted or charged and detained in the United States. Fair enough, fine. He doesn't need to come back. He doesn't need to ever come to the United States. He's not an American citizen. He's an Australian. So if the U.S. wants to do that, fair enough, as long as Julian Assange is free. I don't even think they should be doing that. They should be dropping all of the charges as well. But you know what? I'll take freedom for Julian Assange. If we have to baby step it, we have to baby step it. But if Joe Biden's administration is now saying, no, we're still going to go forward with it, one thing I could hope is that this news is coming out in order to test the waters. Maybe they're trying to figure out how popular or unpopular is this idea. Sometimes administrations do this. They just kind of float ideas. Joe Biden isn't the one who said it. It was his, somebody in the U.S. Justice Department. It wasn't Joe Biden himself. And so this is something he could walk back and even say, no, we're not actually going to go after Julian Assange. We're going to let him free. And he wouldn't be considered a hypocrite or somebody who's wishy-washy in their views because he's not the one who said it. It was somebody in his Justice Department. That is hopeful. All we could do at this point is hope for that's exactly what's gone on here, that this is just a testing of the waters. And when they get some pushback from the public, which is what it would require, it requires us talking about this and saying this is not what we want. This is bad for journalism. This is bad for America. And quite frankly, look, if our government is committing crimes on our tax dollars, we're paying for this. And if they're committing crimes, we deserve to know about it. It is up to us to know about what our government is doing, to know what our military is doing, and to call them out and say this is unacceptable to us. And that is what Julian Assange and WikiLeaks was allowing for us, was to see what was really going on. Now, obviously, all he did was publish the papers that were given to him. You can criticize him about not redacting names. You could criticize him about not being discerning about what he published, but he published what was given to him. And that is no different than what other organizations, reputable news organizations that are in the pocket of the CIA and the intelligence community, by the way, it is no different than what they have done in the past by publishing papers that were given to them, even papers that were highly classified. So this is infringing on journalism in the United States. This is infringing on, it's getting, and we're already at a point where this is a very scary moment. There's a lot of censorship. There's a lot of calls for increasing censorship. And now you've got Julian Assange rotting in jail, Edward Snowden sitting in Russia. At least he's not in jail. Julian Assange needs to be let free. He exposed to us what our government was doing. We deserved to know that. We pay for the government. They work for us. We need to know what they're doing. And WikiLeaks allowed us that transparency that our own government was unwilling to give us. So this is really unfortunate. I hoped the Joe Biden administration would not seek to extradite Julian Assange. And unfortunately, I was wrong on that at this point. So let's hope that they drop those charges going forward, because this is really, truly an absolute disgrace on this country. That is for sure. I don't know how surprised we should be, considering since the Joe Biden administration took charge, we're seeing an increased censorship. We saw a bunch of left channels being censored this past week. That's under the Joe Biden administration. If that happened under the Trump era, they would have said, see what happens under Trump. See how bad of a guy he is, that people get censored. Well, this is happening under a Joe Biden administration. So what is the excuse? We're seeing increasing calls for censorship, and we're seeing a continued attack on journalism under the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris administration.